Hello everyone. Today we're going to look at a simple photogrammetry project that you can do at home. As long as you've got the basic kit, some kind of camera, something that you can actually model, and using a desktop PC, you need a graphics card, some memory, nothing too crazy. I'm running on a 3090 64 gig RAM. I had to upgrade because I tried to do a project which was a little bit too big for that. And is in fact still too big for that. But with an old Intel 9 series, 64 gig RAM and a 3090, this is more than comfortable, sort of 20-minute job. So I've been taking photographs of this little fella, a Dreadnought from a Warhammer game, and I've been practicing with both an iPhone and the Sony that you're watching me through right now. So what we'll do is we'll go through the data collection phases of each one, a few notes about which is better to use, how it handles, and ultimately decide which is best, iPhone or Sony. So, on with the process. I'll only show you the stuff from the iPhone on this, because I just played back the video I had taken with the iPhone of me doing it in the Sony, and I was zoomed in so tight you couldn't see a damn thing. So even though I wouldn't call this the height of excitement as viewing pleasure goes, it's still a little bit better than the other footage I had. But yeah, just a few comments about using the iPhone. I found it a little bit difficult to use. It might just be a sort of congenital cack-handedness on my part, but the button, especially when you are at strange angles, getting my thumb on that button every time, I kept missing, kept taking video by mistake, and just generally made a bit of a pig's ear. So you may notice later on, I think I ended up doing 2 or 3 separate runs of the data collection process with the iPhone. I mean, no huge deal, but it turns a 5-minute job into a 25-minute. So the Sony was definitely more appealing, more appealing to use in that sense. On the other hand, though, you can get closer in, and the sensor is, I believe, 50 megapixels or something extraordinary. It's an iPhone 15, which has got a very good camera equipment on it, whereas the Sony's it's an A7iii, so it's only got 24 megapixels. Whether that really makes a difference in the final analysis, we'll see. Yeah, it's slightly jilted by the fact that I ended up taking something like 250 photos with the iPhone. I just chucked everything in to the model process, and only 75 with the there you go. There was me managing to lock myself out on the iPhone there. But yeah, it's, I would say a much easier process with the Sony altogether, even though actually there's a post-processing step which I did with the Sony and not the iPhone, but I'll show you that in a second. It was mainly just to keep file sizes down. What we're doing now is just looking at the process in Lightroom of cropping down the files that we take from the Sony, just to reduce the amount of data in there, because they're huge files. I took everything in RAW, which means 40 odd meg per file, and most of it we don't need. So by cropping it down a bit, we just keep the focus on the bit that's actually of interest, and just take the demands off a little bit on the old processor later and all the old memory. How necessary it is, well, it makes it easier. We are actually going to use a canny feature in Reality Scan, which uses AI to automatically mask the photos so that we only get what it thinks are the points of interest. And you'll see that turned out actually pretty good in this case. We're going to look now at the process of actually building the building the model in Reality Scan. So Reality Scan is basically free software. You just need to go onto the Epic launcher. So it's Epic Games part of the whole workflow for Unreal Engine. So once you download the Epic launcher, just search for Reality Scan and it will be one of the options on there. So I'm going to assume you've done that now. We have this up ahead of us, and all we need to do is start with a new scene. So we've got a blank scene here, exactly the same as if we just click new, and you'll see 0 inputs, 0 control puts, anything like that. So what we'll do is we'll just quickly run through the process for doing it with the Sony data. So go to your data, Sony source, and just select all files, open them up, and it will automatically start drawing those in and working out just basic input processing. So one of the first things we're going to want to do is use mask images, because this is a really effective system. Okay, it's got the 75 images now. So if we start with masking images, what that's going to do is that's going to just cut the image data down to what it thinks is necessary. So you'll notice I'm not using any other inputs, no settings are being changed, literally just hitting mask images. And with 75 images of reasonable size, they're all JPEG now, not RAW, probably a couple of meg each, something like that. 11 seconds with an estimation. We'll see how how accurate that is. I will say that's dreadful in terms of the accuracy of that. It's like any progress bar on PC. It's essentially meaningless. But it is going the right direction. It's coming down. I won't make you watch the whole thing, so I'll just come back when that's done. Okay, that's finished now. It took a little bit over 2 minutes, I guess, to do that, which is really not bad. But obviously, panic if you've got many more than 75 images. I'm just going to quickly align images now. That is part of the process that needs to happen anyway, but it'll just make sure that, because we're not doing it in a normal way, which is to have the camera rotating about the object each time, we're in fact rotating the object to some extent as well. That can lead to some odd output, so we're just going to avoid that by aligning the images now. Once again, I won't make you sit through the whole thing, so I'll come back when that's done. Okay, and it's ready, and you'll see that it's got a decent point cloud there already. It's picked exactly what we want. It's just the model, nothing else really. There's no weird floating bits anywhere. So I'd call that a good base to start with. So now it's just a question of hitting calculate model, and this time I'm going to go for high quality. I've got one I did before which is normal, which is the same as I did for the iPhone. Let's just see what happens with this. I'm just going to cut in quickly and just have a look at the video usage or the system resource usage on this particular part of the reconstruction. You'll notice here that we're getting quite a few spikes in GPU load, so anything up to nearly 100% intermittently, and it's using about 6 gig of RAM there, of video RAM, which is, yeah, it's quite heavily used just in this phase of the reconstruction process. But a lot of this process is actually CPU and memory bound. There's 20 gig being used at the moment. I might have mentioned earlier that I'd recently upgraded to 64 gig, which is the most my motherboard will handle. For something like this, it's not necessary, but I'm trying to do a massive building interior, which was just absolutely cacking out on 32 gig, and in fact it's choking on 64, so I've been eyeing up quite a beefy upgrade, but yeah, well, we'll see. we'll see later with that. But for the moment, yeah, just show you that you can get away with, for what this is, for what we're doing here, you don't need a massive video card. Anything with 8 gig of RAM will be more than enough. And yeah, 32 gig memory as well. Processor speed is important. I don't have that on here on GPU-Z, but I'm getting away with an i7 9700K quite easily. Okay, so this is what it's come up with as a high detail complex mesh. So you'll see it's I wouldn't say perfect by any stretch of the imagination, but it is high detail and it is pretty good at this point. We're going to hit it with a simplify quickly. That'll take a few minutes. So let's go and hit. And what that'll do now is just take a few of the edges off, just make it a bit more manageable as a concept. I'll again see you in a minute. Okay, that looks well, more or less the same as before, frankly, but if anything, slightly worse. But I promise you, that is not the end. Now we get on to the real meat of the project. We're going to get the textures on.
Yes, we have seen all kind of camera setups from various parties.
And here we are, the final version. So you'll see that the texturing adds so much to the process. That is from that sort of bumpy model we had before, bumpy mesh. We've got a almost credible, well, entirely credible Dreadnought. It's yeah, amazing, and didn't take too long with the resources we've got. So that is a pleasure. Okay, so all we need to do now is rinse and repeat that process for the iPhone data. I won't go through showing it all to you, but previously baked a couple of models in normal mode for both, so it'll be a bit of a fairer contest. And would note that the iPhone did take 250 pictures compared to the 75 for the Sony. So kind of unfair on that basis, but well, we'll see what the results look like. So this is the iPhone version. As you can see, it's pretty damn good, really. We're getting good detail throughout. Nice and sharp on the sort of the details like this in part of the modelling. That does look a little bit wobbly. That could be straighter, but yeah, I'm sure that'll be the same on the other as well. That's showing some pretty shocking painting there. Potentially. Oh no, that's just lumpiness. Okay, that's yeah, that's some weird artifacting there. Looking down here though, I mean, especially in these recesses, which could have gone a lot worse. We're getting some lumpiness. That's a bit there which is looking relatively good if you compare it to the other model, but we'll get to that soon. That yellow there, don't know where that came from. Don't think it's just reflection from the sheer yellowness of the underlying model. It's not quite that shiny in practice. And there, but considering that's internal underneath, that's actually really good. Yeah, from this angle it looks normal. It's only when you look at it from down there. So it just shows the importance of getting more photos if you need that sort of ultra accuracy. Then yeah, just cover every angle. I mean, in practice, if you were actually going to try and photogrammetrize a model like this, you would break it into pieces and model the individual parts before assembly rather than after. But that's not what we're aiming at here, just a general look. So yeah, on the whole, pretty happy with that. So here we have the Sony camera version of it all. On the whole, it does look a little bit better, doesn't it? And details like that there. Don't think I remember getting that low down, but I must have done. You are seeing some not suboptimal bits in these recesses, but that's to be expected. I do slightly prefer the blackness. It looks like it's covered that. It's got that, just the richness of colour in general, I think, is a little better in this edition and this version of it. But I think that is down to just the quality of the sensor. It does have more dynamic range. It's generally, well, it's optimised for being a camera because it is a camera, not doing the best it can in a small space. And the bit I mentioned before, that Wii artifact, but that's much more down to actual capturing accuracy rather than anything to do with the reconstruction. That just shows my laziness there when it comes to cleaning the flash off models before I assemble them. So got slightly non-straight lines for the weapons there, and that obviously there needs better capture. But on the whole, I think that's pretty good. So there you have it, results are in, and there's not really much between the iPhone and the Sony. Both are capable of getting perfectly good shots. I think excellent results from both systems. The key thing to remember is to make sure you take as many photographs as you can and try and cover every angle, every bit in every angle. So get into that detail whenever you can, and just make sure you get good coverage. That's one thing I think the iPhone probably won over on, is it's a little bit easier to get into those areas. It's smaller areas like underneath the machine, and just with a smaller camera size basically. The Sony is much bigger, so it makes it a bit more awkward, but I think with the right sort of setup and just thinking a bit about the angles that you're using, you're in a good position. I do think I preferred the actual image quality on the Sony a little bit. The dynamic range was better, the black's there, but again, it's not really a huge deal, and probably you could fix that in post if you've got the patience to go through 250 images. So yeah, it's pretty much a wash. I hope you take from this that basically with the equipment you've probably already got, assuming of course that you are a computing games geek and have at least an 8 gig video card, you can do this at home pretty easily, and then export the meshes to Unreal Engine or whatever else you want to use. It is a really intuitive and simple process these days. So yeah, just a quick note about the channel. It is obviously a new thing, and really appreciated it if you liked and subscribed the video to get it out there and encourage me to make more videos. I'm going to keep on going, try and get some kind of regular schedule where work and other commitments allow, of course. But yeah, it'll be all sorts of things covering photogrammetry is my current obsession. And yeah, so I'll ride that as long as I can. But just expect general tech stuff, things I'm interested in. Photography is another thing. But yeah, I'll still feeling it out really. So gonna try various things, just see what works for me, what works for you as an audience, and just keep trying. So yeah, that's all we can do really. So yeah, all the best. Thank you for watching this far. Really appreciate that. And catch you on the next one.